Hi, I'm Madison, and the book I chose to read for Church and Family Ministry was Talking with Your Kids About God by Natasha Crain, and the foreword was by Sean McDowell. The publisher was Baker Books, and the publishing date was 2017. Going into this book, I thought it was going to be more of a guide on subjects to talk to your kids about, which it kind of is, kind of isn't. When I think of a book about like teaching your kids, talking to your kids, I think of more of a book that's more like dumbed down, even though the adult is reading it. Usually it's dumbed down so you can, tell your kids the same thing or close to the same thing and show them, about God, etc. This book was I'd say it was more of a book like if you were a new Christian or something, an adult, you could read this book and it'd be great material. It goes over everything you need to know, about faith and about God, about proving that God exists. But for kids, I didn't really find it great. Like, I could use it probably with my teenagers, but for like when I think of kids, I think younger, and this book didn't really, it wouldn't really help me with that, so I was a little disappointed about that. But the contents part, it has different parts. So the first part was about the existence of God. The second part was science and God. Third part, the nature of God. Fourth part, believing in God. And the fifth part, the difference God makes. When reading through this, a lot of the chapters seem to be like about science and about how you can prove that God exists. How does science relate to religion? How does religion relate to science? That type of stuff. Only when I got to the end chapters of this book was it talking about things I would think that were actually, would help my child in their faith. Some of them really, once it gets to the nature of God, what can we learn about God from the Bible, his characteristics, his characteristics, who he is, what he does, why he does the things he does, and also what to do when you have doubt in your faith, what to do, how do you know that God answers prayers, and towards the end of the book it got into some really good topics, but I would have to dumb it down a lot and try to figure out my own way of saying all of this information when teaching it to my children. So that was a little difficult, or a little disappointing about this book. But overall, it was a really great book, and I enjoyed reading through the different chapters and the different parts, and it has good evidence, a lot of good evidence, to prove that God exists and stuff like that, but also it was a little science-y for what I was expecting out of the book. A lot of it was science and just things people have discovered and stuff, which is stuff that you need to know, but I don't think my 2-year-old is going to ask, how does science relate to religion? So it's good things for them to know and them to learn, but not in the kids' range of ages that I think of. But overall, it was a really cute book. It was really helpful to see topics that I should be discussing with my kids, and like it really takes you through all of the different stages of what they would want to know about God, or if they had any doubts about God, it would give you a perspective of like how to help them in that way. But in conclusion, it was a good book, but I think it is for a different audience than the title suggests. But overall, it was a good book.